Okay.
Go.
All right. Mr. Stahl, just give me an F. Yep, I said it, give me an F. I slacked off every day in class. It was noted that I have a low work efficiency rate. I had the worst semester of my life, and I have no care left to give. At this point, this may already seem like a tangent, which many of you managed to point out this year I am always bound to go on. But a tangent is when one loses focus of the initial idea and never manages to bring it back to where it started. I am telling you that this is not a tangent because I have a point, and I always have a point. I am burned out. If you just fail me on the final, Mr. Stahl, I'll get a C for the semester. And you know what the sad part is? I don't care. I'm apathetic. Fishers High School, actually, is the one who burned me out. Made me feel like an imbecile. There has been such an emphasis on this junior year of high school, even though grades don't define you. Because grades don't define you, right? That, unfortunately, is where I'm wrong. Psychology professor Sunaya Luther from Arizona State University said today's students never get to the point where they can say, I've done enough and now I can stop. It's always one more activity, one more AP class, one more thing to do in order to get into a top college. Kids have a sense that they're not measuring up. The pressure is relentless and getting worse. The idea that Luther discusses of not measuring up is something I feel on a very personal level every day. I walk into this class, for instance, and struggle to find where I fit in with all these really smart kids. How will I compete with them when they're already light years ahead of me through the eyes of modern education? Taha's commentary is limited, but whenever he speaks, the class is never short of astonished. Brooke has impeccable speaking skills and didn't stutter once during her debate. McKenna has a work ethic unlike anyone I've ever seen before. And Philip eats potatoes with a great meal, which instantly qualifies him as the most fascinating human being on planet Earth. So, what does that make me? The kid who talks too much, always has a blue mouth from her blue raspberry Jolly Rancher addiction, writes her essays about Junie B. Jones, and loves history. That's just not good enough. Those are just not the right passions to have. When I told Mr. Stahl that I wanted to give a speech on Jolly Ranchers, he didn't let me. When I wrote my AP Lit essay on Junie B. Jones, I got a 2 on the mock exam. And whenever I tell someone that history is my favorite class, they ask me why is history even important. Because the love for history is dying. As Kentucky Governor Matt Bevin made clear, the humanities are important. Science and math careers are more respectable because they bring in a higher income. And other elected officials agreed with him. My other passions aren't important either, because they aren't going to get me anywhere in life. Jolly Ranchers, silly. Creative writing, idiotic. Because they sure as hell won't make me seem more appealing to any colleges. So when your passions aren't going to make you look desirable enough on a college application to Northwestern, or your passions aren't intellectual enough to talk about in a speech for AP seminar, you know what you do? You join AP classes that you have no desire to take, like AP Psychology, which I had to drop in mid-November. You join nerdy clubs like Science Olympiad, where you're the only kid with a GPA below a 4.3. You play viola in the top orchestra and spend hundreds of dollars on private lessons, but you still get beat by a freshman for first year. You join philanthropic clubs like Riley Dance Marathon, but no one donates to your fundraising page, even when they say, send me a link. You try to be the leader of group projects, but you're told you're too opinionated and never listen well to others. And it doesn't pay off anyways, because you're never invited to the annual FHS Leadership Retreat. You stay up past midnight for multiple nights, only to get a 77 out of 80 on an assignment, which sounds great, but not when you find out other kids got A+. You take pride in your English score on standardized testing, and the school putting you in the smart kid room for the PSAT, only to get glares from the other kids and they're wondering, what is she doing here? It also leaves you feeling guilty because this is not what equal education looks like. You make sure your freshman brother is happy and okay and being the best he can be because you know how cruel high school can be, but he doesn't yet. He's the one everyone loves, not you, and you want to make sure they keep loving him. You play an odd sport like lacrosse so you can come across as a well-rounded student athlete who can balance both school and sport. But you want to know the truth? I can't handle it. I've tried to change myself in order to succeed at Fishers High School, and I can't do it anymore. I'm burned out. Trying to force yourself into too many things isn't worth it, especially with the ones you don't love. But it's just like Professor Luther said, there's always one more thing to do, there's always one more thing to make you seem less worthless. So, Mr. Stahl, just give me an F. I'm sorry that I didn't get up here and make you care about finding the cure for cancer, or putting an end to fossil fuels, or crooked companies like Monsanto, or the fact that 1 billion people don't have access to clean water on a daily basis. But I do hope that it made you care a little bit about what it's like to be Ellie on a daily basis. Because it's not easy, it never has been, but I only have 3.5 minutes to explain that to you. I hope no one here ever has their passions ridiculed or diminished like I have. I hope you continue on a track that will send you to the Ivies, give you a job that makes 6 figures a year and gives you a happy life where you never second guess that the things you love are worth it. And I hope you genuinely like what you're doing. Sir Ken Robinson, one of my favorite people and an international advisor on education, once said, imagination is the source of every form of human achievement. And it's the one thing that I believe we are systematically jeopardizing in the way we educate our children and ourselves. High school has tried to close my imagination. Teachers have tried to control my creativity. My friends have tried to pick at my passions. And you know, I played the game for a while. I put on a facade and smiled through the speeches I didn't really care about. Made myself study hours every night just to get an A on one test, only to get a C or D on the next one. Tried to make my teachers like me. Tried to ignore my anxiety. Tried to conform to the image of a perfect student that Fishers High School wanted me to be. But it didn't work. I burned out before I was supposed to. And I'm done with the game of school until someone can make me care.